Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Ben. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going over 3 self-made millionaire habits that you can start implementing in your life today. Now, you may not even have 2 pennies to rub together right now, but your life is the sum of the decisions that you make every single day. And if you choose to form millionaire habits, you'll be a lot more likely to become a millionaire, especially in a time frame where you can still enjoy the fruits of your labor. You know as well as I do that money doesn't buy happiness, but have you ever heard this question posed before? What would you do if money was not an issue? Now, chances are you would do what you're absolutely most passionate about, and frankly, probably what you're the best at. So the reason you want to become a millionaire is to really bring freedom into your life so that you can pursue your God-given passions and desires that can ultimately leave a huge impact on this world. If you apply these habits that I'm going to be talking about today, I promise you that it's going to set you on the right path financially so that you can do what you love. So let's get right into it. Thomas C. Corley is a researcher and author, and he studied a total of 177 millionaires over the course of 5 years, and he found that the majority of them had the same exact habits in common. And so I'm taking part of his research, and I'm also gonna merge it together with this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about how to form lasting and sticky habits. So we're gonna take Thomas's research and Atomic Habits and put them together for this video. So the very first habit is that self-made millionaires read consistently. Thomas found that over 90% of the millionaires that he studied spent at least 30 minutes a day reading for self-improvement or self-education, and he also noted that these people did not usually read for entertainment purposes. He said this in a quote, "Rich people read to acquire and maintain knowledge." And the 3 types of book that these millionaires read were autobiographies of successful people, which totally makes sense because if you're trying to become successful, you gotta look at those who've done it before, right? That's kind of what this video is all about. The next type of books that they read are self-help or personal development books, anything to do with finances, real estate, mindset, or anything educational. And lastly, they read books about history, because one of the best ways that we can learn about ourselves and about the economy is by looking at our history and seeing what works and what didn't. Now, real quick, I'm gonna put up a list of the 3 most popular books in each category so that you can pause the video right now and screenshot, so that way if you're ever interested in reading these books, you can go ahead and order them online, and I'll also leave the links in the description below. All right, so we all know that reading is good for us. I'm sure you've heard me even talk about it here on this channel, but how do we make it a daily habit so that we constantly are getting better and growing? Well, the first thing we got to do when creating a habit, according to James Clear in his book Atomic Habits, is we got to make it obvious. So I think one of the best ways that you can start to make reading obvious in your life is to take whatever book you want to read and put it on your pillow when you wake up in the morning. Now, the reason you want to do this is because it keeps you accountable. When you go to bed at night, you have to physically remove that book and put it on your nightstand or wherever else you're going to put it on the bookshelf, and you might be tempted to just put it away and not read it, but you physically have to look at it. And so that makes it a lot more obvious, and it reminds you, hey, I have to read at least something today. The second rule of habits is that you have to make it attractive. What would make reading attractive to you? I think the best way, and what I've done to make reading attractive for me, is to choose books on topics that I'm super interested in. We've all been forced to read a book in school or for some other reason, and we all know that that's not really fun. So a lot of times I think people have a negative connotation when it comes to reading because of that, because we're forced to read growing up. But man, when you pick up a book on something you absolutely love, it's a totally different story. And this alone can really help you develop this habit. Third rule of habits is to make it easy. Start out by reading maybe 1 to 2 pages a night. I know that sounds very dumb and very small, and you're not gonna get anywhere anytime soon, but I promise you it's gonna be worth it, because the reason you wanna read just a little bit in the beginning is to form the daily habit of opening a book. Because think about it, if you read a chapter a night, right? And for the first week, you're doing great, but the next week comes around and man, you had a really tough day, and you know that when you open a book, it's gonna be about 15 to 30 minutes every single time. Guess what? You're not gonna be wanting to open that book, and you're not gonna be able to continue that habit because it's not sustainable in the beginning, because you're just getting used to it. So please only read a little bit when it first comes to it to make it a daily habit, and then as you start reading every single day, you can expand the time that you spend reading your book. And the fourth rule of habits is to make it satisfying. Our school systems know this. When I grew up in elementary, we had this thing called AR testing, where we would read a book and we would test on it to prove that we actually read it, and we would receive points from those tests, and those points could be used to get a reward of some kind. And as a kid, if you can earn something from reading a few books, it makes it a lot more interesting. And so you kind of have to do this with yourself, but on an adult level. And one simple way that that you can make this satisfying for yourself is to make a tally of every single night that you read. Put it next to your nightstand, a sheet of paper with the title of your book at the top, and I just want you to put a tally every single night that you read so that you can physically see how your habit is developing. And I think that overall, this is really gonna help you with making this habit stick in your life. All right, moving on to our second habit, and that's this, that self-made millionaires exercise consistently. Thomas Corley found that over 80% of these millionaires worked out at least 30 minutes every single day. This helps get the blood flowing, and ultimately it's a really good de-stressor because these people probably work insane hours and they need a physical way to decompress. This increased blood flow also helps brain development as well, so it's just good overall for productivity. And to be honest, we all know that working out is something that we should do, but it's just really hard to form that habit. So let's get into how to form this habit daily in your life. Number one, let's make it obvious. One way that you can do this is by getting your clothes ready the night before. So if you're gonna work out tomorrow, get your clothes ready, get your shoes, your socks, everything you need to work out, and put it together neatly, either in a bag or all together somewhere. And if you don't work out in the morning, go ahead and take those clothes with you to work so that you know, hey, I'm committed to working out today, and this makes it really obvious. The second thing is to make it attractive. And how do we do that? I think the best way for me is to get motivated by attaching working out to a specific event in the future. For example, if you're going on a vacation in 6 months, you're going to the beach or something, maybe not right now because of the whole coronavirus and stuff, but if you're watching this later and things have chilled out, you can schedule a vacation and attach your health goals to that vacation so that you know, hey, I want to look good when I go to the beach, I want to be healthy, I want to be active, and so I'm going to set goals so that when I get there, I feel really good, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to have an awesome time. You can do it for a vacation or a wedding, getting ready for a family reunion. Whenever there's something in the future involved, it really helps motivate you to continue to work out on a consistent basis. The third way to make this habit stick is to make it really easy. So in the beginning, like we talked about with reading, you only want to work out for a short amount of time. The reason this is because remember, you're developing this habit and you need for it to stick. So just go to the gym, spend 15 minutes at the most, and over time you can expand that time and take it from 15 minutes to sometimes maybe even 2 hours. One of my best friends who could literally be a bodybuilder says that, man, the goal starting out should just be to sweat, because that's really how you're gonna get healthy. You're gonna sweat out all the stuff that you've been eating, all the preservatives and chemicals that we come into contact with every single day. This is a way that you can get healthy really easily, and that's a simple goal, is to get out there and maybe just sweat for 15 minutes. You don't have to get on this weight program. You don't have to get on a diet. Those things are really hard to sustain. That's why people fall off the wagon when it comes to New Year's resolutions, is because there's so much that they pile on themselves, and it's really hard to maintain that over time because you're barely starting this new habit. So my suggestion, don't worry about all that stuff right now. Just start to be consistent with where you're at, and it's usually a lot easier when you don't have to put as much time into it up front. Now, whichever way you choose to exercise, whether it be weightlifting, jogging, swimming, start out with really simple goals. For example, sweating for a certain amount of time, or maybe even burning a specific amount of calories, because this doesn't take a lot of thinking to do. You're just gonna get out there and make it happen. For me, I've been biking a lot lately, and it's really helped because all I have to do is put on my helmet, get a bottle of water, and head out the door. And it's super simple. I know that I'm just gonna ride until I sweat for a little bit, and then when I'm ready, I turn back around and I head straight home. I don't have to follow a strenuous workout or anything like that, and I'm still staying active, I'm still being healthy. The fourth thing is to make it satisfying. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but a lot of the time when we want to go to the gym or work out, it's really hard before we do it. But after the workout, we're usually super glad that we did it. We feel a lot better. There's dopamine released in our brain, and so we're just feeling really good. So it's absolutely worth it, and working out after the fact is satisfying. But another way that you can make it satisfying is by making short-term goals and rewarding yourself when you hit them. For example, your first goal could be to sweat for 5 consecutive days. Write it down on a piece of paper and mark off every single day that you actually accomplish it. And at the end of those 5 consecutive days, you can treat yourself with a burger, in my case from Whataburger, right? Or Chick-fil-A, #2 spicy with an Arnold Palmer. So good. Treat yourself with something like that you can look forward to. You know what? I'm gonna indulge a little bit because I've done good, I've sweat, I've reached my goals. Now, just a disclaimer here, don't go super hard, okay? If your goal was really small, make sure that your reward coincides with that. All right, so the third and final self-made millionaire habit is that they all seek feedback. One of the main reasons why we don't seek feedback in our life is because we fear being criticized. But in reality, feedback is one of the best ways that we can grow. And if our life is headed in the wrong direction, it's a great way to get right back on course in life and we need to be open to it. Now, don't just go seeking feedback from whoever. You have to go to someone that you trust. Choose one of your friends that is like that really blunt friend that can just tell you how it is and they're not scared of what people think about them. Go to that friend if you trust their feedback and ask them, hey, what can I do in my life that will help me be a better person? And I'm sure they probably have a few things that they can share with you right off the bat. And this feedback is gonna bring self-awareness. Self-awareness, by definition, is the conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. So when we understand these things about ourselves, we're able to actually change the things that are undesirable about our character or about our motives or emotions. For example, have you ever had that one friend who is just a one-upper? Like, you tell them a story and you're super excited about it and the story is super epic, but for some reason they always have a bigger and better story than you do. That is a one-upper, and chances are that that person has nobody in their life to give them feedback, and they're not really self-aware that they're making every conversation about them, and they're not listening to the people and not valuing what they have to say. Now, it may be kind of harsh, but sitting that friend down and letting them know, hey, every time I tell you a story, you always seem to have a bigger and better one. Sometimes it's better just to let people talk and listen to what they have to say. Now, that might be a hard conversation to have, but I promise you that if this person does want to get better, they're going to listen to your advice and they're really going to appreciate your honesty, because it's going to help them in life and help them develop stronger friendships. So a way that you can make feedback a part of your habits is to make it obvious by doing this. Schedule a time weekly or monthly with that blunt friend or whoever you have that you trust, and put it on your calendar or a reminder on your phone to make it obvious that, hey, on a weekly basis or on this day every single month, you're going to meet with them to talk about some constructive criticism that they're going to be giving you about your life. Second thing is to make it attractive. Hearing how bad you suck is not always the best. So a way that you can make this a lot more attractive is to ask that person that's going to be giving you feedback to find one thing that you've either improved on or that you do really well when it comes to your interaction with people, so that you're not just hearing all the negative stuff, but you're also hearing where you're doing really well. You can ask them to implement the punch and stroke method. For example, they can say,
hey, you're really good at asking questions to people in conversations this week,
but you really sucked at actually listening to what they had to say. So they give you one positive thing and one negative thing back to back. So it's a lot easier to take. It's like whenever I take my shot of greens that I try to take on a daily basis, it tastes like booty, but I wash it down with some water right away and it's a lot easier to handle. So when you're receiving feedback, a way that you can make it attractive is to implement the punch and stroke method, or just to ask your friend to find something positive along with the negative things that you can improve on. The third thing is to make it satisfying, and one way that you can do this is just to keep track of all the areas that you're improving in. This will help you see where you're growing as a person, and your time getting wrecked over the phone will be a lot easier to handle when you have a list of things that you've improved on. 4 is to make it easy, and I think the best way that we can do this, if you're anything like me, you don't really like confrontation, all right? I'm not a very argumentative person. There's some people that just love that, but I personally don't. And so one way that you can make this really easy for you is to do it over the phone, so that you don't have to face-to-face, almost like an argument type thing. You can do it over the phone. It's a lot easier. You're just listening to someone. You don't have to look at them in the face. The other way that you can do this is by just shortening the time, especially in the beginning. Just make a call for about 5 minutes and have them share what they think you can improve on, and then end the call shortly so that you can start to develop this habit and it becomes really easy for you. So to recap for you guys, the 3 self-made millionaire habits that you can start today are reading consistently, working out often, and seeking feedback. If you can't start doing all 3 today, start with one, make it easy, and watch how your life is going to change by just implementing this one habit. Well, if you're part of my community, then you know that I'm all about financial education, because the empowerment that it brings the individual. That's why for this video, I'm deciding to give away a free copy of Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is my favorite book and one of the best books when it comes to financial education. This book has the absolute power to change your thought process on money. So if you made it to the end of this video and you were the first ones to tune in, I want to reward you by entering you in this giveaway. So a way that you can do this is by sending either this link or my channel link to 3 of your friends that you think would enjoy this channel. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and comment down below, I sent this to 3 of my friends. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose someone from the first hour of watching this video, and any of the comments that I see, I'm gonna put you in a random giveaway, and whoever gets chosen, I will go ahead and reply to your comment and DM you to get your address so that I can ship this book out to you for free. Now, if you weren't able to watch it right away, be sure that you subscribe and hit the bell, because that's how you're gonna get notified as soon as one of my videos drops. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope this video motivated you to make some of these millionaire habits start happening in your life today. I'm Ben. Garcia in the next one.